Saludos. Bienvenidos. How's everybody doing? Welcome to another edition of the Boxing Commentaries with the Dude. Here to commentate about boxing. Just throw my two punches in those. I'm in California. For those of you who don't know, live in California, midnight. Just want to talk about boxing a little bit, because there's some good fights coming tomorrow. And I'm just gonna drop my prediction, Holmes. You know what I mean? I mean, you could go the safe route. You could definitely go the safe route by, picking Innoue, the favorite. Benavidez also the favorite. Me personally, I think I'm gonna go with the underdogs, bro. Just to keep it short and simple. I think I'm gonna go with Zurdo Ramirez winning by split decision. Here's the thing with Zurdo Ramirez and Benavidez. Benavidez is moving up in weight. I didn't like the way he looked against Vosdick. He was able to defeat Morel, but I don't know, bro. He's going up against fucking Zurdo Ramirez. No, Zurdo Ramirez, bro. That's a whole different story, bro. That's his natural weight class. And he has plenty of stamina. He's, well in shape, very vicious with his combinations, agile with his feet for his size. You know what I mean? Almost reminds me a little bit of Tyson Fury, like a big dude that could move like that. You know what I mean? So Zurdo Ramirez, he definitely has that big size, agility that fucking Tyson Fury has. You know what I mean? He's fucking a big dude that can move, that can handle himself, has the stamina. And on top of that, he has a fucking chin, bro. That fucker has a tremendous chin. So to see Zurdo Ramirez up against a shorter foe like Benavidez, who's also a very, tremendous fighter, pressure fighter himself. But Benavidez being a pressure fighter, Benavidez trying to push forward like that, he's gonna clash with Zurdo Ramirez, right? So it's gonna be like a wall, bro. A wall that's gonna be just uh, just clashing, coming down on him. Because if you look at how Benavidez throws his punches, Benavidez has he has a nice combination, you know what I mean? But it's like a tight, short combination that involves a lot of uppercuts and hooks, right? And a lot of those opponents that he's faced have not been as tall as what Zurdo Ramirez is, right? So can Benavidez be as effective with his reach at the mid range versus a fighter who is as tall as Zurdo Ramirez? Who's also a fighter who could fight on his back foot. Because when you look at Zurdo Ramirez could fight. I got some messages. Missing my bag. So it says, man, I'm on my phone. It's kind of hard to see, bro. It says, hi, how are you today? And do you play? Come on, dude. This is a boxing channel. If you guys want to learn about boxing, bro, just stick around for a little bit. I also drop videos like UFOs and aliens and shit like that, some stories, some weird shit, once in a while. Cause this is my hobby, bro. Obviously, with my amount of subscribers and shit, almost reaching, a million. But I'm like at fucking how many? A couple hundred. But you get my drift, right, bro? This is just a hobby and shit, bro. Just a hobby. I'm out here in California, just fucking enjoying my time. But I'm speaking about the boxing fights that are gonna occur tomorrow. And these boxing fights they're gonna be very fucking entertaining, bro. We got Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez facing David, the Mexican monster Benavidez, right? So these two fighters themselves, they're definitely gonna go ahead and clash, bro. These two fighters are gonna put a tremendous show. That's the main event, and there's some fights before that, So you got, for example, in Japan, you got these other two fighters that are gonna fight, and these guys are like Godzilla versus King Kong, bro. It's Nakatani versus Innoue. So um, when you got Anoya Inoue versus Junto Nakatani, right? So these two fighters, it's not only for the king of Japan, but right now Inoue is the king of the world. You see what I'm saying? So it's just not only a fight for Japan, it's a fight for that pound for pound status where Anoya Inoue, where he's currently ranked at right now, both undefeated. Junto Nakatani, he's a little bit taller, southpaw, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, right? I think it's going to be very similar to what we're seeing in the main event here on the other on the other side of the world over here on the where we got Zurdo Ramirez facing Benavidez, right? Two distinct different matches, um, both elite level, high caliber type of fights. Very entertaining. So I recommend you guys watch them, man, because these particular fights you might not even, you guys might just be new to the show right here. I'm new to my channel and stuff like that, new to my hobby over here. But these are fights that are definitely going to entertain you. You are not going to be bored. These are not type of fights where you're going to see two fighters clinching, grabbing at each other, just trying to do the bare minimum to win a fight. And I know it's a brutal sport, right? So boxing is a brutal sport. It is what it is. It's a pugilistic, environment where these two warriors are in the ring of boxing, but they're restrained to a set of rules like gentlemen, right? They lace up their boxing gloves. They don't hit behind the head. They don't kick. They don't hit you when you're in the ground. They have breaks in between. And, it's just a gentleman duel of boxing. You know what I mean? It's basically what it is. Modern day gladiator warriors in the arena, not only trying to entertain you, but also, trying to feed their families. Trying to do what they have to do in order to succeed. Everybody has a different job in the world, man. And these fighters, these warriors, what I mean? These soldiers of the ring of boxing, man. You gotta look at it that way, bro. You gotta look at it that way. They're not going to be taking it easy on each other. It's not that the winner takes all. It's just that in the sport of boxing, man, the winner could take your life. So it's also very dangerous. So respect to the fighters, bro. It's what they do for a living. It's what they do to make sense of the world, bro. To and me as a diehard boxing fan, I love that sport, bro, and I respect the fighters, and I might critique them. I might not see eye to eye with what they say, outside of the ring of boxing, but I definitely respect them, bro. I had my critique on David Benavidez, for example, just because of certain things he said that are fallacious. They're shifting blame and stuff like that, But they're fighters, bro. They're trying to promote their brand. They're trying to do what they got to do. You know what I mean? At certain times in their career, they're gonna clout chase. You know what I mean? And I'm not a clout chaser kind of guy. I don't really appreciate seeing that. But I understand that these guys are at a different stage in their careers where they might be at a certain time in their career where they have to be somewhat, you know, clout chasing, bro. And it's not up to the fans to decide, when it's enough or what stage of their career they're beyond that, and when they get the respect and love and admiration from the fans, to become the people's champ, whether you win, lose, or draw. Like Canelo is the people's champ. He got some more fans and haters. You know what I mean? Like so, Canelo Alvarez is a fighter. He's not perfect. He's lost fights, here and there, but he's won a whole fucking shitload of them. You know what I mean? And he's pretty much fought a bunch of motherfucking just about everybody fucking out there in existence, bro. And one fight pending is against Benavidez, but I think, in my opinion, Benavidez he fumbled the bag, bro. He had the mandatory shot, and that's where my critique goes in David Benavidez, right? So he fumbled the bag against Canelo. You know, um, Previous to COVID, Benavidez was in some issues, bro, where he lost his title. He was suspended. I don't want to get into that. Came back, he regained his title, and then he lost it again on the scale, bro. You know what I mean? And disciplinary actions and shit. Not only that, COVID came in. So all that prevented the fight against Canelo, right? But Benavidez goes way back to those days, but he doesn't mention any of that. And he's saying Canelo ducked me. Right. But when you look at the facts, you're like, how could Canelo duck you, bro, when you were suspended? How can Canelo duck you when you had missed, you got stripped from your title? How can Canelo duck you during COVID, bro? And fight in a bubble? That's not Canelo's fucking swag, bro, to fight in a bubble. Come on, bro. With no fans and shit. And the whole world didn't know if we were going to come back at all. Right? That might have been it for boxing, bro. Canelo was fucking happy retired at that time and shit, bro. You fighting at a bubble. That's because you needed the money, bro. Right? But these are not the times where you could say, yeah, that's my critique towards Ben. That's the only critique I have against him. Right? Came back and fought against Lemieux. Shook the dust off and shit. Shook the dust off, and ended up fucking fighting Plant for that mandatory. Defeated Plant in 2023, became that mandatory fighter for March of 2024, if I'm not mistaken, is when it was the deadline. Homie Benavidez asked for a couple of extensions, and after the extensions, he just decides he's not gonna fight Canelo for the mandatory. He fumbled the bag. That's the only critique I have about him, bro. But inside the ring of boxing, man, I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan of Benavidez. I want to see him fight. I already got the fucking fight purchase and shit. It's ready to go, bro. You see what I'm saying? I'm a fan. I want to see him fight. Is he gonna win against Zurdo Ramirez? I don't know. I think I'm going for Zurdo Ramirez because Zurdo Ramirez is the more natural, bigger fighter. He's at his natural weight class, right? He has great stamina at that weight class, great power at that weight class, great chin at that weight class. You know what I mean? Benavidez might be the favorite, but can he land those combinations against a fighter who fights very well on his back foot? Zurdo Ramirez is definitely a fighter who's is not just a flat-footed come forward fighter. He has some springs in his feet. He's gonna backtrack when he needs to. He's not gonna just stay small. He's gonna try to overwhelm Benavidez. Try to smother him. And if they're gonna exchange, when you look at the style that Zurdo Ramirez possesses, bro, he shows up, tightens up. He looks for the opening. He might take a punch or two, but then he lands those power punches, bro. And we have to be honest here. Benavidez has not been hit by a fighter with such power, right? Like Zurdo carries. Because when you look at the combination that Zurdo carries when he lands those punches, those are big boy fucking power punches. Benavidez has not been hit flush in the face, in the chin, or constantly in the ribs or in the stomach, right? Against a fighter with that size, that power, with that leverage, bro. And when you look at the physics, it's not only the speed that's coming at you, but the leverage. Once it hits you, there's still momentum carrying it, and how far into your body, your face, and your neck is gonna twist from that momentum, from the leverage that is still extending. You know what I mean? And it's still pushing you, and it's still dragging you, and it's still, you know what I mean? So that leverage, bro, he has more leverage on his punches. And Zurdo's a big fucking boy with a lot of fucking leverage on those elbows, bro. And he has a lot of fucking weight on those fucking shoulders. He's gonna be laying and cracking them motherfucking solid ass uppercuts and body shots and hooks constantly as well, bro, to Benavidez. And it's gonna be Benavidez' job to impress, to come forward, to land constant combinations after combinations after combinations, right? And Benavidez being the one that's moving up, putting on the more of the fat than the muscle. You see what I mean? Just to stay agile. I think he's gonna get tired, bro. I think he's gonna wind out. In my opinion, bro. I'm going for the underdog. In this case, it's Zurdo Ramirez. You see what I'm saying? But when it comes to Nakatani and Innoue, bro, that fucking fight, that's a toss up. You could go with the safe route, go for Innoue, but I'm gonna go for the underdog. I think Nakatani, being a little bit taller, bro, younger, and just chasing, being the shadow, of Innoue. You know what I mean? Right? Just pretty much shadowing him, bro. Like I think he wants to take the lead, bro, and he's hungry. And we seen we seen Inoue get dropped, by different fighters, bro, by just being hit flush. And Nakatani could definitely do that, bro, to Inoue. Can he do it constantly? I think so, bro. I think if Nakatani is able to, I don't know, bro, but Inoue is the monster, bro. You see what I'm saying, bro? Pound for pound, he gets, all these, but and he's human, bro. They're all human and shit, bro. And right now unfortunately some fighters, bro, they retire, on a good win, Holmes, on paper they look good, bro. Paper champions they look good, bro, but end up fucking retiring, looking like chickens and shit. Like Crawford, bro. Crawford retired like a chicken, bro, if you were to ask me, Holmes. Fuck his paper fucking trail, Holmes. Seriously, bro. What did he do against Inoue? I mean, against fucking Indongo, bro. Yeah, bro. He became undisputed against Indongo. Fine, sure, whatever, bro. Give him that. and then he fucking ducks Spence until Spence comes back from a coma, right? And beats Spence after the coma, bro. I mean, come on, bro. That's how you became undisputed. You duck Fundora, duck Virgil, right? Duck fucking Lomachenko. You fucking you duck Floyd. You duck Manny Pacquiao, bro. You duck Mikey Garcia, bro. You fucking you just fucking ducked a bunch of whole fucking fighters, bro. You duck Keith Thurman. You know what I mean? You don't fight Canelo, bro, when Canelo's closer to your weight. But as soon as Canelo fucking, he's having surgery on his fucking arms and knees and shit, after fucking like a dozen fights within a handful of years compared to what Crawford was doing, bro, you know, it's just that he chose his right time. He fought an injured Canelo, and then Canelo outlanded Crawford with punches, according to CompuBox. That's not just my opinion. That's a fact. I was there live at the fight. It was closer than what many people or haters are saying. Right? Canelo at least won 4 rounds. Right? You can give him 5 if you're generous, bro. But Canelo won 4 rounds. On bad knees, on surgery arms and shit. You see what I'm saying, bro? So Crawford retires on that high note. He's a chicken, bro. He's a fucking chicken. I'm saying it like that, bro, because if you look at it this way, have you guys ever seen the movies of Rocky, Rocky One, Rocky Two, when Rocky had that fight against Apollo, and then Rocky, got the money, and then Rocky retires, and then Apollo Creed is like, "Fucking give me the rematch, you fucking chicken," and then the newspaper started calling Rocky a chicken. Even Rocky's own gym was calling Rocky a chicken, and then Rocky was just out there fucking realizing, "Oh shit, I'm a fucking chicken, bro." Because I don't want to give the fucking champ a rematch, Holmes, because he just fucking went in there, you know, um, won like a fluke. The people are saying he got lucky. You know what I mean? And then he retires. But can you imagine if the movie Rocky, bro, would have ended on that note? Rocky retired, even though people called him a chicken, never gave Apollo Creed the opportunity, for the rematch. Can you imagine if the series of Rocky would have never existed? Rocky would have never existed. Rocky would have forever been remembered as the chicken who got a fluke win or tie against the champion, right? A fluke of a fight. And that's exactly where Terrence Crawford is at right now, bro. At that stage where Sylvester Stallone was portraying to be that character, bro, that represents the true meaning of a boxing champion, bro. That you don't become the people's champion by a fluke. Because if you retire on that high note, that just makes you a fucking chicken in the sport of boxing, bro. And in life, whether you like it or not. That's the movie of Rocky right there, bro. Telling you that. Now, I grew up as a child, bro, watching these movies, not only going to the theater with my family, bro, but also going to the gym, bro. I've never been a professional fighter, bro. Right? But as a fan, bro, growing up and watching history, repeat itself, bro, where fights become rematches and sometimes they become trilogies over and over and over. And all of a sudden, now you got Terrence Bud Crawford retiring on one good note with the paper trail that looks good, bro. But when you analyze the paper trail, he's fighting motherfuckers who are coming off a coma, fighting off surgery, you know what I mean? Or some low class fucking opposition like Indago. I got some messages out here. Really, it says, there's a lot of dumbasses right here, bro. I mean, I wish I could fucking stay on top of this, bro. But you got haters out here, bro. You know, I'm just gonna motherfucking just make me a favor, Holmes. If you guys want to watch the show, just fucking watch the show. Don't fucking comment, Holmes. I'm gonna stop commenting and shit, bro. You know what I mean? So yeah, don't fucking comment, Holmes. Just fucking listen if you have to listen. Because this show might not be for you, Holmes. You know what I mean? You're just out here for whatever fucking strange reason. You're hating or some shit. But you're not listening, Holmes. You're just wasting everybody's time, Holmes. So I'm done listening, reading the comments and shit, Holmes. I'm just gonna go back to my motherfucking comments and shit, bro. You know what I mean? Fucking weird ass fucking motherfuckers out here, bro. Anyways, bro. That's just the way it is and shit. But that's my point, Holmes. It's probably Crawford himself right now typing that shit so I can fucking turn it off and shit, bro. Stop talking about him. That's probably what it is, bro. What a coincidence. As soon as I started talking about Crawford, bro, being a motherfucking chicken, and I'm making sense, connecting it to motherfucking realistic motherfucking facts, right? Like movies, bro, that have been blockbuster, fucking uh Oscar winning, fucking the best movies in the history, specifically when it comes to sports, boxing, and portraying the reality, bro, of what these motherfuckers truly are, bro. You know what I mean? As how the movie portrayed Rocky as being a chicken. Cause he retired from a fluke fucking type of a fight against Apollo Creed, right? Part one, he fights Apollo Creed, right? The fucking fight ends up fucking closer than when people thought it was gonna be, right? Apollo wants that fucking rematch, and Rocky retired because he got some money in his pocket. The first time he seen that kind of money, he motherfucking retires and shit like a motherfucking chicken. His own people called him a chicken, bro. The fans called him a chicken. And if the movie would have ended right there, that would have been the fucking dumbest fucking movie in history, bro. The dumbest movie in history, bro. Motherfucking dude retires on a fluke. Everybody call him a chicken. Kind of shit is that, bro? Kind of shit is that, bro? Kind of fucking shit is that, bro? Think about that for a second, bro. But that's exactly what fucking Terrence Crawford is doing. And people say, "Oh, he's a hater. Let him retire, bro. He accomplished it. He's making all these fucking videos and shit, hating on the fans and shit because we're hating on him because you retired. No one's hating on you because you retired, bro. We're hating on the fact, bro, that you retired like a chicken. There's a big difference, you chicken. Cluck cluck chicken, but fucking Crawford and shit. Bud is a motherfucking chicken, bro. Chicken. And all these fucking fanboys out here, bro, for whatever fucking narrative reason or fucking personal agenda they may have, right? Like maybe because of fucking, I don't know, whatever fucking reason they may have, bro. You know, bitch ass motherfuckers support that shit. Breaking the tradition of boxing, seeing rematches and trilogies, but nah, you want to see a motherfucker protect the O. They don't want to fight their friends and shit. This fucking, I love Democrats. These are Democrats we're talking about. You know they're Democrats just by looking at them, bro. Just by you can see them a mile away. You can see them walking a mile away, and you know they're Democrats, bro. You know they're fucking Democrats, bro. Fucking weirdo Democrats in boxing, bro. Protecting the old, letting them retire and shit on a high note. Bare minimum. Fucking fighting off a jab in the clinch. Get the fuck out of here, bro. That's just fucking disgusting, bro. Sick ass motherfuckers, bro. Fucking the boxing, bro. Fucking it all up, bro. Pisses me the fuck off, bro. I'm out, homes. You guys got my prediction. Going for the underdogs. Innoue gonna be losing to motherfucking um fucking Nakatani and shit, bro. I'm gonna call that fight also by decision. You know what I mean? Nah, that might end up as a fucking TKO because they're gonna be going at it, bro. These guys are gonna hurt each other too, bro. I didn't even say what fucking round. Oh yeah, I did say Zurdo by split decision, and I say split, bro, because I think the fucking I think the big wigs. I think uh, I say the money's gonna be leaning towards Benavidez defeating Zurdo. If it's a close fight, they just might give it to fucking Benavidez because they want Benavidez to fight like Canelo and Bivol and shit. You know what I mean? And Zula's already been through that path when it came to Bivol. Zula and Canelo are really not there when it comes size wise. Maybe at one point that fight could have been done. That fucking fight has, you know, I guess, sell. Well, give me a second. Oh, kick back for a little bit longer. That whole Bud Crawford pissed me off. Fucking chicken. Hold on. Turn on my fucking California tobacco. Yeah, so man, shit got me pumped up. Let me relax a little bit. Fucking chicken Crawford, motherfucker. But was Zurdo and Benavidez ending a knockout? See, that's what I was. That's another thing that I'm thinking about, bro. That I'm speaking to myself right here. Zurdo and Benavidez could definitely end in a knockout because they're gonna clash, bro. They are definitely gonna clash. And if anybody gets knocked out, I think it's gonna get Benavidez, bro. I think Benavidez has a higher chance of getting knocked out, stopped in the fight because we all know that Zurdo has the chin, the stamina, and the size to sustain power punches, bro, that a smaller fighter could possess, like Benavidez, right? So think about it. If Benavidez is going to be unleashing those quick combinations, to try to break him down or whatever, we know Zurdo's not a, s- uh, a stomp where he's gonna fucking stay there, bro, and not do nothing. He's not a punching bag, bro. Zurdo's gonna be moving around, fighting off his back foot, very agile. He pivots very well. That's one thing that Zurdo has, bro. He pivots very well out of the pocket. Because Zurdo pivots very well out of the pocket, Benavides is not gonna be able to fucking, just unleash at will. It's gonna be more strategical. And if it's punch for punch, I gotta give it a Zurdo, bro. If it's punch for punch, I gotta give it a Zurdo by far, bro. Just think about that for a second, bro. Punch for punch, Zurdo takes it. In the pocket, can Benavides land those uppercuts and hooks that he's known for against a taller fighter who's gonna stand up straight, lean back go on his back foot, pivot out of the fucking pocket, right? And he's gonna counter with some mean ass fucking combinations. I don't know, bro. Zurdo, the champion for a reason, Holmes. Yeah, he got outboxed by Bivol. Whole different weight class. Zurdo had to make weight. Those fucking, cutting weight to make weight is a whole fucking different war, dude. It's a whole different battle. It's something that takes away your stamina, your power. You know what I mean? Your adrenaline, bro. Some of these fighters can't just wake up their endorphins and shit and come back from that. They're just too drained, bro. They have to fucking hydrate. They have to fucking replenish their nutrients, right? And as they consume food and nutrients, the body has to digest them, and that consumes energy itself, right? So when they go to the fight, they might replenish some of that weight, but physically, mentally, they might just be a little drained. They're not going to be at 100%. They might come in at 70, 80%. You don't see that because they look fucking cut up like a motherfucker, right? But and then training camp itself, bro, it's also a bitch, right? Zurdo didn't have to really suffer to make weight. It's his natural weight class. Benavidez got to add some fat. That fat, you know, is not muscle. That fat could maybe allow him to absorb some of the punches, but that fat also means that he was not doing as much cardio that exceeds a limit to where you're going to be cutting that fat. So they were holding back on his cardio because they want to keep that fat. You see what I'm saying? That's where I'm headed at as well, bro. If Benavides is coming in looking a little flabby, right, that means his cardio was not at 100%, bro. They held him back at least at fucking 80 to 70% of his routine during his training camp so that he would retain that fat, retain that cholesterol, retain that fatty tissue, bro, right? So he can not only make weight, but also sustain the punches or the power punches in this case from fucking Zurdo Ramirez, right? And not come in as fat, but at the same time, just a little bit, just a little flabby, Holmes, just a couple, maybe 10, 15 pounds worth of flabbiness. You see what I'm saying? You look at his arms, they're not as muscular. You see what I'm saying? When you're talking about Benavides here. His arms and shoulders are not as muscular as when you look at Zurdo Ramirez. Zurdo, on the other hand, there is no fat. He is not a flabby fighter coming in, which tells you he has a great fucking training camp that involved a lot of stamina, a lot of fucking cardio, a lot of maybe uh, what plyogenics or whatever they call that shit, right? How they fucking just constantly moving, working out, just to have a higher stamina. You can see that in Zurdo, and also lifting weights because he looks fucking bulky, bro. He looks fucking solid, bro. He's not only just fucking doing because when you're doing nothing but cardio, you lose your muscle mass, and you could tell that Zurdo was not losing muscle mass, and you could tell that he's not coming in flabby, which tells you fucking two fucking obvious things about Zurdo's training camp. There was a lot of cardio involved, but at the same time, there was a lot of fucking nu- uh, nutritional uptick that involved a lot of protein and a lot of fucking heavy lifting, whether it's constant power punching at the heavy bags with some weights on your arms and feet, right? But at the same time, maybe involved with some fucking power bands to help you kind of mimic the weightlifting, possibly even a little bit of fucking squats and some heavier workouts, bro. So we're talking about uh something that is obvious in both camps. Or to me it is, right? Logically speaking, dude, right? So I'm leaning towards Zurdo Ramirez, bro. Can it end in knockout? Yes, it can, bro. In the later rounds, somewhere in the 9th, 10th, maybe 10th, that I do see Benavidez losing by knockout. If you were to ask me, I would see him losing by knockout. I would favor Zurdo winning um, by knockout, but I do see this fight going a distance just because Benavidez is a warrior. And I don't see him just backing down or staying down unless he seriously gets hurt and they stop the fight, right? And because I honestly, this this is not Benavidez' weight class, bro. And if Benavidez wins this fight, bro, it's only gonna impress me more. It's only gonna give me more respect for Benavidez. You know what I mean? But I don't think this is Benavidez' weight class. I think his weight class is at 168, possibly 175. I would say more at 175 to be honest with you, not at cruiserweight, light heavyweight. Um, just because, yeah, I would say more like at light heavyweight, Benavidez' natural weight class. Fighting cruiserweights, I think he's just too small for that weight class, or not as big. Like look at Andy Ruiz, right? Obviously a lot of mass, but you take away that fat, he does have a lot of muscle under that shit, right? A lot of power, a lot of more naturally built for those heavier weight classes. Whereas Benavidez, I don't think he's been designed that way to be fighting. I think it's just if you beat Zurdo, I'm not gonna call it a fluke or nothing like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's gonna only impress me more. He's a great warrior. They both are. I just don't see it happening, bro. And if it does, it's gonna impress me. Yeah, but I don't see it. I'm going for Zurdo, and I'm going for Nakatani, bro. Nakatani defeating Innoue. I'm going for both underdogs and shit, bro. I'm gonna say Nakatani. Um, maybe in the. I'm gonna call if it's by knockout in the 11th or a stoppage in the 11th. But I also see it going to distance, bro. Um, but man, I really want to go for Nakatani in this fight, bro. I think if it goes to decision, it's gonna go to Innoue. But I think Nakatani. I'm gonna call it like that. If it goes to distance, it's gonna go to Innoue. But I'm going for Nakatani, bro. I think Nakatani could win it by knockout somewhere in the 11th. I think he would deserve a split decision. It's gonna be a good close fight. I just think Nakatani could do what other fighters couldn't do, and that's keep dropping Nakatani throughout the fight. Right, keep dropping him, around here in two, maybe early in the fight, mid fight, towards the championship rounds, making it fucking very controversial, right? Um, but yeah, that's my prediction. Hope you guys enjoy the show. What I mean, the boxing commentaries with the dude, just another boxing edition here. Just talking about boxing, homies. With the dude right here, homies. So it is what it is, homies. It is what it is, homies. I'll get you guys in the next round. I'm out. Peace.